to share my screen. This is compliments to Boardwalk Times for Zach. Shout out to Zach. He does great work at Boardwalk Times. But this was something that was released. Now, I don't know if this was actually released for Destination D23, but it is interesting that they made this kind of announcement right coming off, going into Destination D23. But it's saying Icon Creative Studios, who worked on Monsters at Work, will be providing the animation services for the upcoming attractions in the Monsters Inc. land at Disney's Hollywood Studios. Now, I had this conversation with our group chat and also with UOG on the phone. Now, when I went back and I looked at this, now I saw the key word that it says attractions, plural. So this isn't just talking about the roller coaster, but that's also referring to I'm assuming the stage show,
right,
or the interactive show that's replacing the Muppets Theater. And I don't know, like for me, that's kind of a like not saying that the company doesn't do bad work. I mean, obviously, they do good animation, as you can see here, but the kind of animation that they give off, it's more like
television,
diluted down, kind of Disney Junior-esque kind of animation. And I feel like this is the same company that worked on the animation for Tiana's Bayou Adventure. When you'd see Tiana and Lewis looking into like the tree, when Mama Odie shrinks you down to the size of a frog. I feel like that's the kind of animation. But here's the thing, I'm not too keen on that kind of animation in the theme park environment.
No, I agree with you, George. And Starship says this Monsters news scares me. It scares me too, Starship. Here's the thing. For a TV show on, or a streaming show on Disney Plus or something on Disney Junior, absolutely fine. But when you're talking about an attraction that will be around longer than we will, okay, these attractions last decades and generations. I want Pixar to do the animation for the attraction. This is going to be a mainstay at this park, and to outsource this animation for something so important, right? And we were talking in the OG55 group chat via text, and we were saying how this is kind of like a what's the word for it? I'm losing my train of thought here. This is something that, like, you really have to hit a home run here, because we're replacing the Muppets, right? And you can't afford to kind of do these kind of half measures, so to speak. I mean, I want Pixar, who created this IP, to go in there and do amazing, beautiful animation for the stage show and for the roller coaster. That's the studio that came up with this IP. That's the studio that should do the attraction. If you want to do a TV show, if you want to do something like that, this studio is fine for that, but not for an attraction. I'm sorry. And for Disney to release this right before D23 is terrible optics, really crappy PR, not a good look. Not a good look. And I'm really disappointed, to be honest with you. And our friend, I don't want to say his name, but for reasons, but our good friend did say this is a slippery slope. Mm-hmm. And I agree with him on that, because this is a very slippery slope to kind of outsource more and more of this stuff outside of Pixar. And it kind of minimizes Pixar's role within the company. It's really scary to me.
Well, and this is the weird thing, that Pete Docter, who is now head of Pixar Animation, Monsters Inc. is his baby. That was his first movie that he actually directed on his own. Like, he helmed that feature. So the fact that you have the president of Pixar Animation, who now won't even really utilize the studio that he's ahead of, that would work on the IP that he created, and he's going to a third-party source, that looks bad upon him. Yeah. That looks bad upon bad leadership of. See, I wonder if that is even. Now, let me ask you this before I jump on my tangent here, because I am a huge fan of Pete Docter. I mean, he was everywhere during the last D23. I mean, he was in Marvel panels, for crying out loud. Do you think that was a Pixar move? Do you think that was a WDI move? Do you think that was executive move?
Yeah, executive move. This screams executive move. This screams like, you know what? How can we find a way to save a buck, or there's some kind of monetary benefit for them doing it this way? I don't know. But yeah, it's executives, almost certainly. And Starship here says Disney Animation is working on the Zootopia show. So I don't understand why Pixar isn't doing this. Exactly, Starship. That's really super weird.
And again, now Jared Bush is now head of Disney Animation. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I wonder if it's based on who is ahead, who is president, like, of the animation. Do you think that Pete Docter said, you know what, just, go with Icon? They worked on Monsters at Work. They know the material. It definitely seems like a cost-cutting thing to me, where with Jared Bush, it seems like that he's trying to get back on, that Disney Animation hype train.
I don't understand.
I don't know, like, why. Yeah, you're right. That is a very good point, Starship. Like, why would Disney Animation work on Zootopia, but Pixar wouldn't work on Monsters, Inc.?
It makes no sense. And okay, for both of these attractions, the roller coaster, which how much animation are they even going to produce for the roller coaster? You're going to see what, like a minute and a half of animation probably, with that thing going so fast. And the stage show is only a few minutes. I mean, the amount of animation that Pixar would have to do would probably amount to a short.
Yeah.
And they don't have the time to do 8 or 9 minutes of material. I just find that very strange. And I really don't like this move, especially scary, because we're coming off of Elio, which was a huge flop. So I hope this isn't indicative of a bigger problem that the executives are starting to really maybe doubt Pixar or something. I don't know. I don't want to read too far into it, because I do that with a lot of things. but it worries me, though. It really worries me. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and especially too that this land is replacing something that people hold, near and dear to their heart, which was the Muppets Courtyard. It was Muppet Vision 3D. I mean, and Disney kind of pulled the reins back on that a little bit, when they released, the Scooter audio animatronic and the Penguins going into the studio, and Electric Mayhem is going to do album covers and everything. They showed like the concept art of how the exterior of the building and the electric guitar is going to get these like psychedelic colors and what have you. So they were pulling it back for the Muppets, and then they make this announcement, and now that's probably going to get people all hyped up again to say, so we're losing Muppets for a diluted down version of Monsters, Inc. And that does make me now wonder too. And again, I'm not saying Disney or Pixar made this announcement. I'm just saying this is my concern. I hope they don't go that route with the Cars area, because that's going to lead them into some big doo-doo.
Okay, well, here's the thing, George. Now that you opened up that can of worms, let's dive into that, because that area is based on planes, Piston Peak, right?
Yes.
And that was not a Pixar movie. It seems like it is, but it isn't. It was a Disney Toon Animation Studios movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope they don't outsource that animation as well. I mean, that's a great point. And if they're doing it for Monsters, it's possible. And here's the other thing too. And we can think about what we want to think about John Lasseter as a human being. I want to make that very clear. When I say John Lasseter is a creative guy and he's a smart creative, I'm not endorsing everything the man does in his personal life. I want to make that very clear. But he is a very creative dude. Okay. I think we can all agree with that, right? And he loves that Cars franchise more than literally anyone. And we had him for the DCA version to go in there and help with that project. We don't have a John Lasseter this time helping with the Piston Peak project in Magic Kingdom. And I've said it on videos on my channel. That does worry me a little bit. I'm still optimistic about this whole area. I'm not a doom and gloomer by any means. But to pretend like that's not a thing, I mean, that is a thing. I mean, that is kind of scary, especially now that we're seeing that they're outsourcing this stuff for Monsters. Are they going to outsource the Cars Land stuff too? I don't know. I'm nervous. I'm very nervous about it.
Yeah, I am too. So we'll just have to wait and see. I'm curious to see if they made this announcement prior to Destination D23, because hopefully maybe they can show maybe some animation teasers like of what's going in the land, or something. But
well, you know what? You know what my theory is on that? I think they dropped it right before because they know this weekend the news will get buried. Because what's going to happen tomorrow, we're going to get a bunch of announcements from across the company, and this will get buried in the noise. So they drop it usually when companies or politicians drop news on a Friday, it's usually because they want it to go away. They drop it and they want it to be forgotten. So yeah, not good. We'll see though.
We will definitely see for sure.